A few months into online school, I was really struggling and was looking for a way to express my pent-up feelings. At first, I tried a written diary, but it didn't work out for me. I needed a way to be myself more and express myself more. I finally decided to try to record my voice and to just talk to myself. And this worked so well for me. And now I officially call it the voice diary. And while I was doing this, I did a 1 month challenge where every day for a month, I'd have to record my voice at least once, whether it be from 3 seconds to an hour. And I was allowed to talk about anything, and then I'd give it a title at the end. And it was really goofy and awkward at first, but then eventually I realized that it had become one of the greatest decisions of my life to try this. And it's still an amazing tool that I use to this day. And now I want you to experience that. And at this point, you might probably be wondering, why would I do this and how is this better than a regular diary? There are 7 reasons why you should try a voice diary. 1. You get to hear yourself. Doing a voice diary allows you to hear yourself speak and get extra details that you wouldn't be able to get if you were just writing, like emotions, background noise, or sounds like laughing and whispering. I believe that one of the lost skills of today is listening to ourselves. By recording myself, I was able to talk about anything and everything, from something as small as struggling with Latin homework to overcoming life obstacles like perfectionism and finding myself. I talked about people I just met, my worries about others, venting about a bad day, daily mishaps, you name it. 2, it makes you say a lot more than you think it will. I tended to say a lot more than I first thought I would when I started recording and say some stuff I hadn't even known was on my mind. It was kind of like a domino effect. Once I started, the flow began and I couldn't stop. In some cases, an intended 5-minute recording turned into a 30-minute full out session about everything that happened that day. 3, you make little pockets of time. You know those time machines in movies where you can travel back in time? Well, by recording yourself, this is possible. You can now refer back to yourself and see who you were on a specific day during that specific moment in your life. While I was making this video, I went back and listened to all my recordings, and it allowed me to envision my past self and remember so many of those small moments that I had forgotten about. I felt like I was going through a time loop. I listened to myself talk about my past goals, the sad times, the happy times, the honestly pretty embarrassing times. And I found it so amazing how much that Hannah had changed and how I can now go back and laugh at myself for those struggles that I went through when I can now look back at it and know that it turned out okay. 4, you learn how you speak. I learned what tone I typically use, what words I tend to use a lot, when I tend to pause, how low or high my voice was, and etc. And this allowed me to become a better speaker. 5, it's very easy to do. All you have to do is download a recording app and you just use your phone, computer, whatever it is, and press play. And especially since a lot of us are in front of the screens these days, it makes it that much more convenient. Sometimes I would open a tab on my computer 5 minutes before class to freak out on about an assignment. It's that easy. Number 6, you can get very creative. You don't just have to talk about what happened during the day. Since you're using your own voice, you have so many creative opportunities. You can do anything you want. I have a few recordings where I searched up life lessons on Google and just talked about what it meant to me. Sometimes I brainstormed out loud what I wanted to draw, and I even have this one time where during a snow day in the middle of the night, I just got up to record and screamed, "It's a snow day!" But for pride purposes, I'm not going to share that with you, and that leads to my final point. It's all yours. Just like a regular diary, you don't have to share it with anyone. So you can go all out. Squeal, shriek, growl, hiss, make funny noises. You do what you gotta do to let yourself out. And no one has to know. You are your own person. I learned so much through this experience. I learned a lot about myself and who I am on the outside. I learned how to get creative, and I learned how important it is to just hear your own voice sometimes. Although I support both written diaries and voice diaries all the way, I encourage you to at least try this once. And hopefully by doing this, you'll have a conversation with the oldest friend you've got, you. Thank you for listening.